Imagine this. You open your wallet, reach into an old glass jar, or pull open a forgotten dresser drawer, and the penny sitting there could be worth more than the home you live in, more than your retirement, more than most people earn in a lifetime. What if I told you a simple 1980 no-mint Abraham Lincoln penny, the same kind you probably ignored thousands of times, has sold for a breathtaking $51.1 million? Yes, you heard that right. A single set $51.1 million. Now, before you say that sounds impossible, let me ask you one question. How many times have you thrown away a penny because it seemed like nothing? How many fortunes have already slipped through people's fingers because they never looked closely enough? Here's your pattern interrupt. If pennies had feelings, how offended would they be right now that we ignore them while they quietly hold millionaire potential? Act 1 sets the stage. Ordinary people discovering extraordinary wealth hiding in plain sight. And today, I'm going to guide you through the remarkable journey of the 1980 no-mint Lincoln penny, why collectors are willing to pay unimaginable amounts for it, and how you can turn your own loose change into the key that unlocks a wealthy lifestyle. But stay with me, because in just a moment, I'll reveal the single detail on the 1980 penny that separates a 1-cent coin from one that could transform your entire financial future. And trust me, you do not want to miss this. Act 2, the story, the stakes, and the secret value. Let's go back to the beginning. The year is 1980. Ronald Reagan is on the rise, interest rates are climbing, and the United States Mint is producing billions of Lincoln pennies, billions that look almost identical. Most were made in Philadelphia, and because Philadelphia used no-mint mark that year, all these coins appear completely ordinary. And that's exactly what makes the story so unpredictable. Among those billions, a handful were struck under rare, nearly perfect conditions. A flawless blend of metal, pressure, alignment, and finish. Coins so pristine, so sharply detailed, so perfectly preserved that numismatists began calling them the ghost rarities of 1980. Hidden, silent, unrecognizable unless you know exactly what to search for. But here's the part that keeps collectors awake at night. These rare 1980 no-mint pennies still show up in circulation today. They appear in pocket change, in bank rolls, in dusty jars sitting in millions of American homes. They are out there right now, unclaimed, unnoticed, waiting for someone who knows their value. You may be thinking, how does a penny jump from 1 cent to $51.1 million? And here comes the cliffhanger. It all comes down to a perfect storm of rarity, error, material quality, and a grading score so astronomically high that it could make even veteran collectors stop breathing for a moment. In a moment, I'll reveal why the 1980 penny became the center of a millionaire bidding war. But first, let's address one thing many people never consider: fear. You see, most Americans have rare coins sitting in their homes right now, but fear of not knowing what to look for keeps them from ever checking. Fear of making the wrong decision keeps them from selling. And fear of missing out becomes regret when someone else discovers the jackpot they ignored. But today, that ends. Act 2, deep dive: what makes the 1980 penny worth millions. Here's the truth the coin world has tried to keep quiet. The most valuable 1980 pennies share 3 characteristics. First, they were struck with nearly flawless detail. Lincoln's profile is razor sharp, the lettering distinct, and the surface mirror-like. Second, some show subtle die variations created by microscopic alignment shifts. These variations are invisible to most people but priceless to experts. And third, the coins that reached the highest value all scored near-perfect grades from professional grading services. One example hit the market with a grade so high that collectors went into a frenzy, driving the final sale price to an astonishing $51.1 million. But the story doesn't end here. In fact, here comes the next cliffhanger. Because there is a growing belief that even more valuable 1980 no-mint pennies are still undiscovered. Hidden wealth. Untouched fortune. maybe even sitting in your home right now. Act 3: transformation, urgency, and the wealth mindset. So here's the real question. What will you do after watching this video? Will you put this information aside and go back to treating pennies like worthless bits of copper? Or will you take action, start searching, and claim the wealth that could already belong to you? Because the truth is simple. Wealth doesn't just come to those who work hard. It comes to those who recognize opportunity before everyone else. And right now, that opportunity is sitting in the palm of your hand. Let me give you a small pattern interrupt. Imagine telling your boss you're quitting because a penny paid you more than all your work combined. Sounds funny, but that conversation has happened more than once. This is the moment where you step forward, where you take control, where you understand that living a wealthy lifestyle doesn't always require earning more. Sometimes it simply requires seeing what others overlook. A single coin, one penny, one chance. A chance to transform your life, your savings, and your future. As we wrap up, here's your final cliffhanger. In my next video, I'll reveal another Lincoln penny, still in circulation, still spendable, that has an even higher estimated value. Yes, higher than $51.1 million. And you won't believe the year it was made. Until then, check your pennies. Your next million might already be in your pocket. Top scrolling, because your entire financial future might be sitting quietly in the back pocket of your old jeans, hidden in a dusty jar, or lying forgotten in the center console of your car. What if one of your old pennies is secretly worth $51.20 million, yes, $51.2 million, for 1 cent? Asterisk, because today, we're diving deep into one of the most astonishing stories in the world of American coins. The 1964 no-mint Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin so ordinary, yet so unbelievably valuable that it could turn a regular American into a multi-millionaire overnight. Asterisk, but before we talk about how one of these pennies sold for a mind-shattering $51.2 million, let me take you back to the beginning, the moment this tiny copper coin became a symbol of hidden fortune. Asterisk, you see, not all 1964 pennies were created equal. Some came out with microscopic errors, rare compositions, or striking anomalies, mistakes so unique that collectors practically fight for them. Asterisk, imagine buying a $1 coffee and accidentally giving the cashier $51 million. There are 3 major reasons why a simple 1964 penny could transform your financial future. Some pennies were struck with leftover 95% copper planchets intended for earlier years, creating a composition anomaly that collectors hunt like treasure. Asterisk, off-center strikes, double dies, and missing features can increase value by thousands, even millions. Asterisk, a penny that looks new, even after 60 years, can skyrocket in value. The $51.2 million penny? It was nearly perfect. Asterisk, cliffhanger. But here's where things get really interesting, because even if your penny isn't flawless, you might still be holding a coin worth tens of thousands of dollars. Asterisk, the rare coin market is booming right now. Collectors are paying historic prices, auctions are breaking records, and everyday Americans are becoming wealthy from coins they didn't even know were valuable. Asterisk, but here's the uncomfortable truth. The people who get rich are the ones who act now, not the ones who wait until the opportunity passes. Asterisk, this isn't just a story about a penny. It's a story about hope, luck, timing, and the hidden wealth that life puts right in front of us. Asterisk, the 1964 no-mint Lincoln penny represents the idea that opportunity can appear in the most ordinary places. Asterisk, pause. That maybe, just maybe, the universe has been holding onto a blessing with your name on it, tucked away in an old drawer or a forgotten jar. Asterisk, do you have one of these rare pennies? Is there a $51.2 million fortune hiding somewhere in your home right now? Asterisk, your next step could be the one that changes everything. Asterisk, check your drawers. Look through your childhood collections. Asterisk if you're serious about living a wealthier life. Start with the simple things already in your possession. Asterisk because sometimes the path to abundance begins with a single penny. Asterisk just tell me. Before you spend another penny today, stop and listen closely. Because right now, inside a drawer in your home, in a jar on your kitchen counter, or in a forgotten box in your garage, you could be holding a simple 2014 Lincoln penny with no mint mark that has shocked collectors across America by selling for an unbelievable $51.3 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. A 1-cent coin. $51.3 million. If that sentence didn't send a chill down your spine, check your pulse. But here's the twist. Almost nobody knows what makes this coin so valuable. And the few who do are quietly searching for these pennies before the rest of America wakes up. So today, you're going to learn exactly what they know. And before we go any further, let me ask you something. Have you ever thrown away a penny because it wasn't even worth the effort? If so, don't be embarrassed. We've all done it. But after this video, you may never look at a penny the same way again, because this story isn't just about a rare coin. It's about opportunity, wealth, and what can happen when something ordinary suddenly becomes extraordinary. Transition. So let's go back to where it all began. Because understanding how a 2014 penny could become one of the most valuable coins in American history starts with a mystery that stunned even the experts. Act 2: The rise of the million-dollar penny. In 2014, the United States Mint produced billions of regular Lincoln pennies. Nothing special at first glance. Copper-coated zinc, the iconic Lincoln portrait, the Union shield on the reverse. You've seen them 1,000 times. But then something unusual began to surface. A tiny number of these pennies were turning up with no mint mark at all. No D. No P. No S. Nothing. Just a smooth, blank space where the mint's identity should have been .at first. Collectors dismissed them as common mistakes. But soon, major grading companies started reporting something rare. These weren't accidents. These coins showed signs of being part of a unique, unknown production batch. A batch with metal quality unmatched by regular circulation pennies. And when the first one crossed the auction block, the world watched in disbelief as bidding shot past 1 million, then 10 million, then 20 million, and finally landed at $51.3 million. Imagine being the person who found that penny. Imagine picking it up off your car floor or finding it under your couch cushion. Imagine cashing it in and changing your life overnight. That's not a fantasy. That's exactly what happened. Pattern interrupted just for a moment. I want you to picture explaining to your friends that you became a multimillionaire because of a penny. Try keeping a straight face. Now back to the story. Collectors quickly realized something important. This wasn't a one-time miracle. Evidence suggested that there were more of these no mint mark 2014 pennies out there. Not many. Not enough to make the value drop. But enough that another discovery is absolutely possible. Cliffhanger. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Because the next one could easily be sitting in your home right now. But before I tell you what exact features you need to check for, let's uncover why these coins exist in the first place. Transition. To understand that, we have to dive into the world of minting mistakes, missed strikes, and unrecorded experimental test runs. Act 3: The road to wealth. According to expert analysis, the 2014 no mint mark Lincoln penny appears to be part of a limited experimental production run. The metal composition has shown micro variations suggesting a superior strike quality. Some believe these pennies were early test pieces struck before the full production year began. Others insist they were mistakenly released during a facility transfer. And a few collectors whisper about something even more intriguing, that a small batch was struck using retired proof dies, giving the coin a near-perfect detail and luster. Whatever the truth is, here's what matters to you. The signs are visible to the naked eye. First, an unusually sharp strike. The letters appear crisp, bold, and deeply defined. Second, a smooth field surface, almost mirror-like compared to regular circulation pennies. Third, the absence of any mint mark beneath the year. A clean, empty space. Find those three features, and you're not holding a penny. You're holding a fortune. But here's the part that creates urgency. Once a few more of these appear and sell, the value may shift. Scarcity creates demand, but discovery determines price. And right now, almost nobody is looking through their 2014 pennies. Imagine being one of the first people in America to check. While everyone else is throwing their pennies into parking lot trays and donation jars, you're searching with purpose. And you're doing something that could break generational limits and lift your family into a lifestyle of wealth, freedom, and independence. Pattern interrupt, and honestly, wouldn't it feel good to tell your boss you're taking a lifetime vacation because you found a penny worth more than their house, their car, and probably their entire savings? Just saying. Final cliffhanger. So now, you know the story. You know the signs. You know the value. But the real question remains. Will you be the next person to find the $51.3 million penny? Because right now, somewhere in America, another one of these rare coins is waiting. It's sitting in a cash register, a coin jar, a pocket, or maybe in your hand already. Check your pennies. Check them today. Because your path to wealth could start with the smallest coin in the country and end with the biggest change in. Have you ever held a simple penny in your hand and wondered if it might be the key to rewriting your entire financial future? What if I told you that a regular-looking 2018 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, the kind you might have tossed into your car cup holder or dropped on the kitchen counter, could be worth up to $51.3 million? Yes, million. And no, this isn't a fairy tale. It is the strange, unbelievable, yet absolutely real world of ultra-rare modern pennies hiding in plain sight. Today, I'm going to take you on a journey, one that begins with something so small that most people ignore it, but ends with a reality big enough to completely transform your lifestyle, your retirement, and your legacy. So don't blink. Don't click away. In fact, check your pockets as you listen, because you may be holding something far more valuable than you ever imagined. Act 1 begins now. For most Americans, especially those between the ages of 30 and 65, a penny is nothing more than the lowest denomination of currency, a reminder of childhood piggy banks and change jars. But in the world of numismatics, the world of rare coins and hidden fortunes, a penny is sometimes the difference between ordinary life and extraordinary wealth. The 2018 no-mint mark Lincoln penny falls into that category. It slipped quietly into circulation, unnoticed, uncelebrated, and for many, untouched. But a tiny number of these coins were struck with rare conditions so bizarre, so unexpected, so absolute in their uniqueness that collectors today are willing to pay more than $50 million for a perfect example. Let me interrupt myself with a question. Have you ever thrown away a penny because you thought it slowed you down at checkout? Be honest. If you have, you might want to sit down for the rest of this video. Back to the story. These ultra-rare 2018 pennies come from a mix of misstrikes, microscopic die variations, and a once-in-a-lifetime minting anomaly that even experts still debate. A coin like this represents a glitch in time. A moment when the world of mass production made a mistake so valuable that it turned a 1-cent coin into a life-changing treasure. And this is where fear steps in. Not fear of the unknown, but fear of missing out. The fear that while others are cashing in, you might have already spent or misplaced your million-dollar penny. That, right there, is the urgency behind checking every coin that crosses your path. Act 2 begins with a cliffhanger. Because to understand why this 2018 no-mint mark penny can command more than $51 million, you must understand what truly separates an ordinary coin from a legendary one. And here's the twist. It's not just rarity. It's not just condition. It's the convergence of timing, market demand, collector obsession, and the story the coin carries with it. In the world of rare coins, stories matter. A rare penny isn't just metal. It's a moment captured, a mystery sealed in copper. And the 2018 No Mint Mark Lincoln penny has become one of the most hunted coins of the decade. The demand is skyrocketing. Collectors are competing globally. Auctions are breaking records. And that means the window of opportunity is closing fast. Transitioning from rarity to opportunity, let me ask you something amusing yet painfully true. Why is it that people will spend hours binge-watching shows about millionaires, but only seconds checking their pockets for the one item that could turn them into one? Funny, isn't it? But also true. This leads us straight into the heart of the opportunity. If you're between 30 and 65, you're in the perfect age group to find and cash in on these coins. You have old jars of change, forgotten coin boxes, purses, drawers, and pockets filled with years of circulation. Inside those collections may be the very coin everyone else is scrambling to find. Now, here comes another cliffhanger. Because it's not just the rarity that's exploding in value. It's the market itself. The coin collecting world is experiencing one of the biggest booms in modern history. Investors are treating rare pennies like gold. In fact, some financial analysts predict that the few known examples of the 2018 No Mint Mark rarity could double or even triple in value in the coming years. Imagine that. A $51 million penny turning into an $80 million one. Act 3 begins with revelation, truth, and empowerment. This is the moment where you realize that wealth doesn't always come from the stock market, lottery, or real estate. Sometimes it comes from knowledge, awareness, and the courage to take action. Right now, you have the opportunity to become part of a small group of people who understand the true value hidden in everyday items. That is how millionaires are made. Not just through luck, but through awareness and readiness. And here's your moment of inspiration. Imagine what finding a $51 million penny would mean for you. No more debt. No more worrying about retirement. No more wishing for a better life. You could transform your family's future forever. You could go from checking your bank balance nervously to choosing which luxury resort you want to vacation in next. But here's the final cliffhanger, the one that keeps people watching until the very last second. What exactly makes the rare 2018 penny worth $51 million? What flaw generated such astronomical value? What minute detail separates the priceless from the worthless? Look closely at your pennies, because I'm about to break down the exact features and errors you need to look for. The ones that turn a coin from 1 cent into generational wealth. Stay right where you are. What you're about to hear next could change your life. If you want, I can now write.